Hi, and welcome everybody. How exciting to share today as we celebrate our 8th Quantum Soul Guidance Practitioner, Louise Platt. My name is Ursula, and I'm with Julia, Balaz, and Louise. Welcome, ladies.
Hello.
Hello.
Congratulations. Thank you.
It's stunning how, Julia, you launched this course on quantum soul guidance, how to read Galactic Astrology. You just launched in February of this year, 2022. And already we're getting our 8th practitioner who's been certified. There's so much information and it's manageable. It's all online, but to have our 8th certified practitioner to celebrate today, this is remarkable. How do you feel about that, Julia?
I'm really glad, and I can't wait for more of them to come along, because I'm seeing that all those that are listed, they are getting busy. That there's really such a high demand for people really want to see and understand where they come from, why they're here, what star system they're connected to. So I just feel like more, please, to be certified so that we can accommodate all this demand for information. So I'm really glad, very happy to see any new submission for certification. Super well done, Louise.
Thank you.
And you know, this whole global conversation, thanks to the James Webb Telescope sharing images now, beautiful, gorgeous images of galaxies that we have never seen before. And so the fixed stars and stars, that one we've been aware of, but then there's more we haven't seen. So as the whole world goes galactic, it's so exciting to be able to meet the need that seems to be arising in the collective of, who am I and where am I from a quantum soul perspective? So you're right, Julia. I know that you are now not offering one-on-one sessions, so really teaching others how to meet the demand, and you continuing to share and provide this broader vision. It's wonderful to be here in such a short time. I mean, it's the conversation and the need is growing. So thank you, Louise, for making it through. Okay, so we have some questions to ask a little bit about your past, your present, and your future. And why don't we go ahead and start? Tell us, if you wouldn't mind, about your journey, your personal journey. Where have you been before the whole galactic astrology came on the scene for you?
Yeah, sure. I think when I think back, you know, as a child, I always felt that there was more to, you know, life than what you could see, and it was a very different belief system from my family, but I felt that I'd had other lives before. I always assumed they'd been on Earth. I didn't even think, you know, there were alternatives. But you know, I was interested in ghost stories, and yeah, I guess I just was interested in finding out more. And then I would say really in my late 20s, I was working in London in a corporate world, very toxic environment, lots of stress, lots of bullying, lots of really, you know, what I perceived to be bad behavior. And I didn't realize at the time, but I was, as an empath, I was absorbing all that negativity and quite possibly clearing it as well. But I didn't realize that. I didn't know about grounding. I didn't know about protection. So inevitably I got ill and my body just said no. So I had to have a few weeks signed off with stress. But I thought at the time I was having a bit of a breakdown because I was having panic attacks and, you know, really strange symptoms. But what happened was I went to the College of Psychic Studies in London, and I had a reading there, and then I signed up for a workshop, and then I signed up for a course. And before I knew it, I was basically there every week, sort of sitting with other, you know, people that were interested in energy and spiritual sort of information. And I basically got a grounding there. You know, I learned all about how to manage my energy, how to protect myself, how to clear energy. I was learning about all the different sort of options, like we did a bit of astrology, a bit of numerology, learned about the chakra system, learned about oils, sound, colors, you know, it was like the whole thing. And so that was a really good sort of foundation for me. And that sort of went on for a few years. I kept doing lots of different courses and lots of workshops, and I kind of felt like I just wanted to know more and more, but I was loving it all, but I never really found where I could sort of land, if you like. I was like flying around, you know, dipping in and out and trying all this stuff. That was like, this is great, but this isn't where I want to sort of settle and sort of land, I guess would be the right expression. So, but I did feel like I had a mission, and it was a really strong, like, I remember thinking it's a really strange word to use, but that's what it was. I've got a mission and I need to fulfill it, but I didn't know what that mission was. So it was quite a strange sort of position to be in. And I kept trying different jobs. I thought, if I go and work there, that'll be it. I'll have fulfilled my purpose. And it's like, nope, that's not it, you know, on to the next thing. So there was a lot of searching and trying to find out who I was. And then I would say, so at the same time, I was carrying on, you know, working in different environments. I got married, I had children, still in lots of different psychic development groups. And then I had an Akashic reading done when I was in my early 40s. And that kind of was another turning point for me. Because she said I was a starseed and I was a walk-in, and I was a shapeshifter and a time traveler. And I was just like, what? I had absolutely no idea what she was talking about. But so once I got over the shock, and she couldn't, at the time, she couldn't tell me where I'd come from, because she said she thought I was hybrid. But anyway, I sort of went away. I was like, okay, I need to find out more about, you know, what all this means. And as I did, I felt a lot of things started to fall into place for me, because I was like, okay, that explains why, you know, I don't feel like, I've never really felt I knew where home was and where I, you know, sort of fitted in, and I couldn't understand why people behave the way they do sometimes. And it really answered a lot of questions for me. And then sort of shortly after that, I discovered Dolores Cannon. And I know a lot of viewers will have read her books. I was reading her books feeling like she'd written them for me. I was like, literally, these books in my hand, and I could feel like the energy coming off them. And it was like, okay, yeah, I understand that's what's happening to me. This is what, you know, and it was just like so many answers and downloads, and sort of gradually things were starting to sort of fall into place. And I'd say, you know, fast forward another few years, at the beginning of 2020, I had a really strong nudge to leave the job that I was doing. By that point, I was actually in a school working with SEND children, but I had a really strong nudge that I had to leave. And I was like, I'm not sure what's next, but, you know, let's see. And needless to say, you know, in March, everything changed that year for everybody. But I signed up for an astrology course and had a real, I studied every day, and then I did another course, and I was getting a lot more answers through looking at my birth chart as well. So I thought, this is something that I'm really, really interested in. But what's interesting is, although I loved it, and I started doing charts for my friends, and then I started doing some paid readings as well, I kept thinking, I need a niche, you know, I want to specialize in something. And I was like, what is it? And it wasn't really taking off the way I thought it would do. And I was like, okay, there's a block here. What is it? And then at the beginning of May, my friend sent me a link to your interview with Elena. And I think I can't even remember what, you know, the interview was about, but I went onto your website and looked at it and thought, oh, that's quite interesting. And I've got the usual, oh no, you can't do that, Louise, you know, it'll just be another course, and, you know, it's just you're spending more money, and you know, it'll come to nothing. It was the kind of internal, but I was like, but there was also a real sort of strong, no, this is really quite, you know, exciting. So I signed up, and I think I completed it in 6.5 weeks or something ridiculous, which, you know, at the time I was like, gosh, this is happening really quickly. But I just felt that everything I'd done over the last 25 years was kind of leading me to this, because I knew how to dowse, I knew how to access the Akashic records, you know, I knew how to clear energy, and I had all my astrology foundation and all the numerology, so it just felt like so perfectly aligned. And yeah, and also, you know, even putting my readings in to be certified, I was like, oh, are you sure, you know? I can't. And there was like, no, come on, you're doing it. I feel like I've been literally, there's been a higher force literally leading me along here, so it's been, yeah, it's been amazing, really.
Wow, I love this story. This is incredible, and such an example of, yes, those that are flying through the course in 6 weeks. I believe 5.5 is our fastest, but 6 weeks are the ones that are flying through it. Each one of them had lifelong preparation, couple of decades of, you know, being in that type of information. So then we have those that are complete newbies and they really need to take their time. So I just want to highlight that for them to not feel under pressure, because they have no idea how much study went into prior.
It's years, literally years, yeah.
Incredible.
So Louise, just to shout out that you're calling or you're landing into this meeting from around the London area in Bedfordshire. So it's so exciting that Julia sets this beacon of her website out into the world with the calculator, and we're finding her from around the world. I'm calling in from California, Julia's in Ireland, and Louise, you're in the UK.
Yeah.
So I just got to echo what Julia said too. Like you, I've gone from one amazing program, you know, a wide dashboard of various modalities. But I think I saw that you were not just astrology, but energy work and even tarot. So this is kind of an interesting background. And you mentioned numerology. So this, all of it seems to be connected with this idea of metaphysical light language.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely. Because I've done Reiki as well, and I've done access consciousness. Like I said, I've done lots of different sort of modalities and experienced lots of treatments as well. I've literally, well, I feel like I've tried everything that's come along. But yeah, I think, you know, I use cards as well, and you know, I'm able to clear energy as well. So it all feels like it's coming together really beautifully with this.
Now it makes sense to me why your reports were such a high level. Like, I was really impressed. I didn't know you had all this history before you, but you could tell when I saw the level of quality of information, the precision, the clarity, how it all made sense, and how practical as well it was, and just spot on, including the astrology. I was just so impressed. Like, you just raised the bar a little bit more. So it's clearly the result of your long preparation to get here.
There is that paradigm of when the seeker stops seeking and you find a home. And I think that's what it seems like it might have felt like for you when you a friend told you about Julia. Did I get that right? Like it took a friend to say, hey, you should hear this.
Yeah.
And then you found your way.
Yeah, sure. I kind of feel like I can, I feel like almost like a sense of peace, like, you know, and relief, because I've just spent so long, you know, trying to work out who I was, why am I here? Because I did feel I was here for, you know, it was important in some way, but then you think, well, you know, where's that coming from? But when I look at my chart and where I've been, and, you know, everything is just really making sense. And yeah, I'm like, oh, thank you.
I know. And it's so hard when like family members or a loved one says, wait, when are you going to stop looking for who you are? Like, don't you know who you are by now?
Yeah.
I mean,
or stop trying to heal yourself. That was the other thing I got. And I was like, I don't actually think I'm trying to heal myself. I'm just searching for who I am, because obviously I came in and I forgot. So it's taken a while, but I'll be 50 next year, and I kind of think, oh yes, I could spend the next I don't need to search so much now. I can hopefully help other people. So That
And I
feels
love
good.
that the three of us came from all three of us have come from corporate at some point.
Mm.
And it's this idea of, can we actually work from home now and do what we love? And so, as you know, Julia's practitioner's course begins with how to set up a business. And if you have any thoughts or comments based on your experience of going through that part of her course, I know others might really enjoy hearing that.
Yeah, well, just first of all to say that the course exceeded my expectations at all levels, and I couldn't believe how much content there is and how much guidance, and how, you know, Julia keeps adding to it as well. You know, if there's something that comes up that is, you know, hasn't been covered, it gets added in, which is amazing. But I think, yeah, I mean, I did run my own business for a few years after I had my first child. I did a children's arts and crafts franchise. So I had a lot of kind of, you know, marketing input and how to set things up. So I kind of, again, I feel like that was a real blessing as well, because I'd done it before, so it wasn't as daunting. But yeah, I mean, it's all there in the course about, you know, how to market yourself. I love the idea of the universal marketing team, and, you know, being able to switch that on and off, which I think once you get your head around how to manifest, you know, it's like, it just makes perfect sense. And then all the information about how to charge and, you know, what to put on your website. And yeah, it is very comprehensive, so, and very useful for sure.
Thank you so much for that praise. Really appreciate it. I'm curious, what was it like for you to see your galactic alignments? Because when you got that psychic reading a while back with all that language jargon, like, did you get some answers looking at your own galactic astrology chart?
I did, yeah. I mean, I won't lie, when I first printed off the chart and looked at it, I was just like, I'm never going to understand any of this. And it was like, it's like learning a new language, because the majority of the star systems I'd never heard of. You know, I knew Orion and Sirius, you know, and the main ones, but there were so many on there that were just like, what even is that? Yeah, I think, you know, and again, I would say for anyone new looking at it, yes, it is daunting and it is a new language, but I just thought I would stop and I'd go away and I'd come back the next day. I'm like, no, I'm determined, I'm going to work this out. And I'd watch the video again about how to sort of, you know, read it and decipher it. And so gradually it all did start to fall into place. And I'm still, every time I look at it, I find something new as well. It's like with the birth chart, you know, I don't think you can ever sort of finish reading in astrology. There's always something more to learn and another layer and another star. So yeah,
Personally, I find it exciting. I love that. And same for me, I still discover galactic pieces of puzzle in my chart that I haven't seen before. I'm looking at it now for several years. So
yeah,
astrology it takes even lifetimes, but it's you always receive what you can take at this time. So it just kind of grows with you.
I think that's an important point to underscore for anyone listening, that, you know, this is really a living light language. There's an aliveness in the course. It is not static. It's not just go read and see you later until you are certified. There really is an aliveness, and it's built not only in the information, but it's also in the class structure. So, you know, having a support group or weekly kind of chats with others around the world. So there is this aliveness, because, you know, I've studied a lot of different modalities too, Louise, and it's usually very much, okay, this is how it is, next book. And then, but there is something about how Julia does bring things forward. And I think it will surprise people that she is sharing how to set yourself up in business if you've never done it before. And that's different. It's not just content. It's really, how do we meet the need of the collective who want to know their star origins or their soul connections. So that said,
I was just going to say, you know, if you do get stuck, you know, there's the Facebook group, you know, you can ask questions, and then you've got the benefit of other people that are already certified can give their experience and their advice as well. So, you know, there's a lot of sort of collective support there from everybody as well, which has been really invaluable. So you're not on your own at any point.
Yeah. Well, then I would love to ask you too, do you have a particularly favorite fixed star that's in your natal chart?
Well, I was going to say, before I sort of talk about fixed stars, I would say I
Yeah.
resonate really strongly with the blue ray, which I've been sort of researching about. I'd heard about blue ray before, but I've been learning about that, and I kind of, that it feels like connecting with that energy has been really enlightening for me, because I just felt I didn't really know where I came from, and sort of understanding that the blue rays don't actually come from anywhere in particular. You know, it's like they're almost source. It was like, okay, so that answers that question, and I was like, you know, that was again another sense of relief. But I really resonate with you know, the fact that they are here to harmonize and transmute energy and sort of clear negativity, and also the fact that they tend to hide their gifts and sort of stay in the background, whereas as opposed to the indigos that are more sort of out there and, you know, kind of here to fight the cause, I'm very much sort of hang back and, you know, stay hidden, and I don't want to sort of talk to people about, you know, what I do, what I can do. Obviously I'm being activated, so it's time for that to change. But yeah, and the sensitivity as well, that's, you know, that's really strong. I think understanding that maybe that's, you know, who I am has really helped. But I think I know, Ursula, you looked at my chart and you picked up that I was a Hyadian soul, which again, you know, that resonates really strongly. And interestingly, I would say the white lion sort of race from that star system is very much, you know, a strong connection for me. And I was going to say, when I was a child, sort of about 6-7 years old, I always used to say, just going back to the past lives thing, I used to think, I have definitely had past lives before. I'm sure I've been a cat, because I used to see all these cat's eyes all looking at me all over my bedroom wall. So they, you know, and I obviously didn't entertain the thought that it wasn't actually a cat, it was possibly a white lion. But when I sort of read about that and researched it, I was like, oh gosh, you know, that really just, yeah, that's amazing. It makes sense. So I thought it was nice to think that they were sort of watching over me, and, you know, that they, you know, that there was that link there. And then Arcturus as well. I've been told in the Akashic reading that I was very involved in helping souls sort of who leave the earth, you know, when they transition. And I was reading that the Arcturians are very involved in that sort of part of assisting humanity. So yeah, and also the light language and you know, the real sort of drive to be of service. But I have to say, every star that is in my chart that I've looked at, I just thought, yeah, I can, you know, I can resonate with that, and, you know, that fits part of me, because I do feel like I've been to a lot of places, and yeah, quite well traveled. So not been here many times, that's for sure.
That's what I call
Yeah.
multigalactic starseed. Yeah, beautiful.
So it's remarkable that anyone listening might hear the word blue ray, Arcturian energy, a fixed star Hyades or Hades. So this is a language of metaphor and energy. And so it's just learning the narratives that surround these particular points in a chart. And I always like to say it's putting the stars back into astrology. So you have the Western and you have Vedic and you have various systems, but to put the fixed stars in, as Julia does, and then to even go into a quantum level where you're now talking blue ray, you know, so it's I just wanted to calm anyone who might be listening down, who's not even familiar with quantum soul guidance, that this is a new language, and Louise is talking to us at a very advanced level, I would say. So not to make anyone afraid, but it's more than just, where are you from?
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
It's really good.
Okay.
Will we share about the website where people can find Louise?
Yes. So Louise, Julia, you brilliantly list now 8 certified quantum soul guidance practitioners on your site, galacticastrochart.com. And we'll put that down in the description, but you can read all about Louise, first of all, on the calculator site, and then directly to Louise at Spiral Bright. Right. And so, Louise, why don't you shout out the full name? Because I think it's a .co.uk or.
Yeah, it's spiralbright.co.uk. So I've got all the information about the different readings that I offer on that site. So hopefully.
And I'm curious, do you do the written reports, audio, video? What are you at the moment? I know that
at the moment. At the moment, I am doing written reports, which, yeah, I feel possibly in the future I may change that, but for now, yeah, they are written, supplied as a PDF. So
perfect. And I have to say they're so beautiful visually, but just the information was exceptional. I really, really loved your style. Beautiful. Is there anything in particular that you feel called to bring to your sessions? I always encourage our practitioners to make it their own, bring something unique to it. Is there anything yet that you're starting to sense is your thing, or is it too early to say?
Yeah, well, I'm finding that I'm very much focused on the astrology and reading sort of the strengths and the talents and the life purpose from the birth chart, and then translating, the fixed stars, and bringing that in as well. And I think for me, because I've found so many answers through the astrology, about why am I here, and what are my talents, and where does my soul want me to really focus on this lifetime. I feel I want to help other people with that. So because I think I can't be the only one who spent a long time go, oh, I'm here for a reason, but I don't know what that is. So I'm hoping that through my the reports that I do for other people, that I can really help with that. And give them some answers, and and hopefully sort of help them just move forward onto the next stage.
That's brilliant. I love hearing that, and that's what stood out for me when I was reading your reports. I have to say, I found it so practically helpful, and like, oh my God, this person will have just such clarity from seeing this about what to focus on. So yeah, super well done. I love it. So excited.
Yeah.
It was fun to read the testimonials from people who have already received your reports. That made my heart just like, oh, wow, this is a heart mission.
Yeah, it is. I've always felt like I'm here to serve, and I want to help people. Like I say, I just could never quite pinpoint, how I was going to do that. But yeah, I really feel that, this can really help people just kind of discover who they are, because I think once you know who you are, and you can stop searching, and settle into that, and actually own it as well, and step into yourself. So that's very empowering.
Invaluable.
And then lastly, as we wrap up, is there a specific message, Louise, that you'd like to share with our classmates in the Quantum Soul Guidance Program? Maybe a message to someone who's just started and going, wow, this is a lot. Is there a message that you would offer that newcomer?
Yeah, I would say, there is a lot, and everyone is coming at this from a different sort of a different point, a different level of experience, a different different background. And I think for me, I did fall into the trap quite a few times of comparing myself to other people, and their level of knowledge and their gifts and their abilities. So what I felt, what I heard very clearly, when I was sort of thinking, oh, am I ready to submit my case studies? Is this? I just heard very clearly that you mustn't compare yourself to anyone else, because actually what you've got, and this is like a message to everybody, what you've got is unique, and there are people out there who are 100% looking for what it is that you've got to offer, and it won't be the same as another practitioner necessarily, but you know, it is, people are going to be drawn to you for what you can share with them. So don't compare and don't put yourself down. And, you know, if you are feeling overwhelmed, you know, there's no rush, just take it steady and, you know, find your own way, and you will find your own style and your own way of doing things. So yeah, that's
That's very helpful. Beautifully said, and so important.
yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, well, in closing, I would just say to anyone listening in the future that if you're at all interested in quantum soul guidance, to really check out Louise Platt and the other practitioners on galacticastrochart.com. And on that same site, you'll see some of the online classes that Julia offers. It's not all about being a practitioner. You can learn galactic astrology, how to connect with your higher self. And Julia, what's the other one?
Yeah, so the first one was higher self connection. That's when I was still doing QHHD sessions, and the most commonly asked question was, how do I know what's the difference between my ego talking and my higher self guidance coming through? So this one seemed to be very helpful in that. Then we have life purpose astrology that does not include galactic aspect fixed stars at all, just looking at the basic astrology in terms of what challenges we deal with life, how to overcome them, and what to focus on to feel aligned and fulfilled. And then the Galactic Astrology 101 for the beginners, if you just want to read your own chart, and then the advanced one for practitioners. So 4 courses.
Wonderful. Well, Louise, you made it through, and we just celebrate, and we thank you for sharing your story, because I had no idea your journey is, wouldn't you agree, Julia? It's pretty amazing for her to be able to now land, and instead of searching, like emanate and share, because I think you're going to attract some people who are very much perhaps in a similar kind of path as you have been.
Yeah, that's my hope. Yeah.
Can I ask you, you have some transits right now, activating kind of your midheaven, your mission, your career, your purpose?
Yes. Yeah, I think the Sun and Mercury are passing through my 10th house. And on the day that I submitted my case studies, it was the new moon at exactly 7 degrees of Cancer, which is my natal moon. And I know I've got Sirius A in my nodes as well. So yeah, it's quite remarkable actually how it's definitely divinely orchestrated. And
yes.
Yeah.
So I'm on purpose bringing this up because there is divine timing for everyone. You know, there will come time when you will just have to kind of go through this gate and start shining your light and helping others. Just it happens in divine timing for everyone. So
yeah, sure,
beautiful. Sure. You're a beautiful example of that. Just life is amazing.
No, thank you for the opportunity. It's so nice to find something that feels like a fit, you know, so when you've been there. Yeah.
Thank you. This has been so inspirational. We'll see you guys next time.
Take
care.
care.
So much love. Bye.